Good evening to our viewers watching on television and those joining us online across our social media platforms. I'm Colin Abrams with the Thursday, February 5 edition of the TV9 News. In the headlines tonight, yesterday is dead and gone. Magistrate rejects fresh bid, to delay Mohammed extradition case. President Ali calls for stronger, smarter defense force as security threats evolve. 4 crew members die after suspected fume exposure aboard docked cargo vessel. And youth unemployment cut by more than half under PPPC government, Labour Minister tells the National Assembly. Now for the news in depth. Addressing the opening of the Ghana Defence Force Annual Officers Conference 2026, President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali on Monday outlined an expanded vision for Ghana's national defence, urging the Ghana Defence Force to accelerate its transformation into a modern, agile and resilient force capable of protecting the country's sovereignty, resources, and democracy amid an increasing complex global and regional security environment. Here's more.
The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces said national defense can no longer be confined to traditional border protection, but must also encompass the safeguarding of Ghana's economic assets, critical infrastructure, biodiversity, and emerging energy sector. He stressed that Ghana's growing oil production, fisheries, mineral wealth, forests, and telecommunication infrastructure have increased the country's strategic value, while simultaneously elevating the risk posed by territorial threats, illegal mining, piracy, wildlife trafficking, cyber threats, and transnational crime. President Ali said the Defense Force must therefore view itself as the guardian of national assets, noting that every protected resource translates into public revenue, employment opportunities, and improved services for citizens. He warned that loss or illegal exploitation of national resources ultimately harms ordinary Guyanese through reduced funding for education, healthcare, and economic development.
Our country is now leading a global push on the Global Biodiversity Alliance. In the last week alone, the UK, Belize, and Panama have all joined this alliance. What that tells you is that our defense architecture goes beyond the tradition, and we must now demonstrate, in keeping with this national and international priority, what our defense system will look like in relation to our ecology, our biodiversity, our environment. Because we are positioning this country and this economy in that sphere.
President Ali reaffirmed that Ghana must remain vigilant in the face of continued threats to its territorial integrity, particularly developments involving Venezuela. He said uncertainty demands preparedness, not complacency, and emphasized that readiness is a responsibility of a sovereign state rather than an act of provocation. Ghana, he said, cannot outsource its sovereignty or defense, even as it continues to build strong international partnerships grounded in respect and territorial integrity, international law, and shared democratic values. While diplomacy and cooperation remain essential, President Ali said the primary responsibility for defending Ghana rests with Guyanese institutions, particularly the GDF.
With Guyana expanding oil production within its exclusive economic zone, we have seen the escalating threats by those who long eyed our territory and falsely claim some fictional historical lean to it. Within our maritime space, there is the need to safeguard our fisheries from piracy and illegal fishing. Within our lands, there is a threat to our gold and other minerals from illegal mining. Within our rich forests and biodiversity, there is a need to shield our wildlife from illicit trafficking. And in our airspace, we have to protect it.
President Ali highlighted the increasing importance of artificial intelligence, cyber capability, and domain awareness in modern defense, announcing that the infrastructure of the Defense Force will evolve to reflect new technological priorities and emerging forms of warfare. He also underscored the role of the Defense Force in protecting democracy, civic values, and national unity, calling for greater engagement, in civic education and youth development, including the establishment of a Commander-in-Chief Scouts program to foster patriotism and national service. The president pointed to significant investments made over the past 5 years to modernize the Guyana Defense Force, noting a dramatic shift towards capital expenditure to support new assets, infrastructure, and operational capabilities. Defense spending, he said, has increased steadily since 2020, reflecting a deliberate strategy rather than one-off allocations. Colin Abrams, Guyana TV9 News.
Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman on Thursday formally rejected another attempt to delay extradition proceedings involving Azruddin Mohammed, pushing back against a defense request for an adjournment, with the pointed reminder that yesterday is dead and gone, tomorrow is yet to come. Here's more from Adana Doric.
The application was made as Mohammed's attorney, Cyan Georgian, informed the Georgetown Magistrates Court that an email had been submitted seeking a postponement on the grounds that Mohammed was engaged in the National Assembly during the ongoing 2026 budget debate. Georgian said parliamentary sittings have reportedly been running late into the night, making it difficult for his client to attend court the following mornings. However, the court was told that Mohammed, leader of the We Invest in Nationhood Party and of the opposition, was absent for most of the previous day's parliamentary sittings and had departed early. Georgian argued that it would be oppressive for Mohammed to sit in parliament late into the night and then appear in court each morning, maintaining that his client has a constitutional right to prioritize parliamentary duties for the week. The defense further disclosed that Mohammed is suffering from migraines and is currently on medication, submitting that it would be unfair to proceed under those circumstances. The state strongly opposed the request. Leading the prosecution, Terrence Williams, KC, told the court that there is no conflict between parliamentary responsibilities and attendance at court.
The sitting of Parliament does not conflict with the sitting of the court, and there is a need to press the matter along. And given that there is no conflict, and the dates in court were set long ago, we felt and the court agreed that the matter should proceed as scheduled. All matters in court should be dealt with reasonable expedition, and any delays in any court matter must be with good reason.
The extradition hearing is continuing in the Magistrates Court, where the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Relations remains on the witness stand giving evidence. The case follows sanctions imposed on the Mohammeds and their businesses by the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control (OFAC) on June 11, 2024. U.S. authorities allege the pair were involved in large-scale corruption, including gold smuggling, money laundering, and bribery, resulting in the evasions of more than $50 million in taxes owed to the Guyanese state. Additionally, the two men have been indicted by a grand jury in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida on 11 criminal counts, including wire fraud, mail fraud, and money laundering, largely tied to gold exports to the United States through Mohammed's enterprises. Adana Doric, Guyana TV9 News.
Police are investigating a tragic incident aboard a cargo vessel docked at a wharf on Water Street, Cummingsburg, Georgetown, which claimed the lives of 4 crew members on Wednesday, February 4, 2026, at around 6:30 p.m. The deceased have been identified as 18-year-old seaman Brandon Deonorine, boat captain Norwayne Prasad, 57, seaman Dominic Alexis, 33, and engineer Getindra Sanchara, 25. Initial investigation suggests the men collapsed after being exposed to suspected noxious fumes while inspecting a space in the engine room. Emergency responders rushed them to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where they were pronounced dead. Investigations are continuing. President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali has pushed back strongly against claims that Budget 2026 does not benefit ordinary Guyanese, saying the spending plan delivers billions of dollars in direct support to families, workers, children, and the elderly across the country, from tax relief and cash grants to housing support and higher pensions. President Ali says Budget 2026 is putting money directly back into the pockets of ordinary Guyanese as he rejects opposition criticism of spending plan.
The head of state highlighted that PUPC budgets removed VAT on electricity and water, reduced water rates, restored the Because We Care cash grant for school children, reversed increased land rental charges, and eliminated several fees that had placed a burden on citizens. President Ali also pointed to the government's continued support for key productive sectors, including rice, sugar, mining, and bauxite. He noted that nearly 800 jobs were lost in the bauxite industry under the previous administration, while the current government has since created almost 1,000 new jobs and reopened a call center in Region 10 that had been closed. Speaking on budget provisions, the president said successive PUPC governments and budgets have consistently placed people at the center of national development, pointing to the removal of more than 200 taxes imposed under the former APNU AFC administration. Focusing on Budget 2026, the president said the budget contains a dedicated section aimed at improving disposable income and overall well-being of Guyanese, particularly those who are most vulnerable.
To say that the budget has nothing for the ordinary Guyanese is to ignore the measures that are clearly outlined in the budget speech. Either the opposition, either the parrots, did not read or listen carefully to the presentation by the Minister of Finance, or they're deliberately misleading our nation. They're exposing their agenda, and the agenda by the joint APNU AFC opposition embodied in the WIN formulation is to do exactly this. An entire section of the speech is dedicated to the various measures that will improve the disposable income and well-being of Guyanese.
Several cost of living relief measures were also highlighted, including the continued 0% excise tax on petroleum products, which is projected to cost the government more than $100 billion. Investments have also been made to maintain freight charges at pre-pandemic levels, alongside expanded mortgage support for first-time homeowners. The president noted that the Because We Care cash grant, combined with a newly introduced annual transportation grant for school children, will result in nearly $18 billion in direct transfers to children. Support for senior citizens remains a major focus, with increase in old age pensions expected to cost $5.7 billion, along with the introduction of a new annual transportation grant valued at approximately $2 billion. Overall, more than $54 billion is expected to be transferred directly to elderly citizens, in addition to investments in elderly care homes.
Billions of dollars of support, co-investment opportunities. We have the increase in stipends for the pathway workers, the community enhancement workers, the community support services workers, the annual bonus that we give to our men and women in uniform, the increase in the stipend for community policing groups, the payment of the 100,000 cash grant. That alone is $60 billion of cash transfer to the people of this country. The removal of net property tax, giving up billions of dollars of revenue, the increase in the income tax threshold that will put more money in our workers' pockets. These are measures that will cost hundreds of billions of dollars.
President Ali maintained that these measures represent hundreds of billions of dollars in investments aimed at improving the lives of Guyanese, and said claims that the budget does not benefit ordinary citizens ignore the provisions clearly outlined in the budget. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to national development and said the 2026 budget is designed to meet the aspirations of all Guyanese while building shared prosperity across the country. Colin Abrams, Guyana TV9 News.
We'll be back after these short messages. Stay with us.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
Guyana, Channel 9 is now Guy TV9, proudly under new management. We're building stronger with a balanced and open platform for all advertisers. Whether you're promoting a business, service, or event, your message belongs right here. So choose your spot, news, primetime, or anytime, and reach viewers across Guyana. With affordable rates and professional service, Guy TV9 is your partner in progress. So visit us at Lot 21A, Lamaha Street, Georgetown, in the Century 21 building, or call 600-5006 or 761-5006. Guyana TV9. New leadership, fresh outlook, real results.
Welcome back. You're watching the Ghana TV9 News Bulletin. Minister within the office of the Prime Minister, Kwame McCoy, on Wednesday said trust has become the defining fault line in Ghana's politics, arguing that government's record of delivery continues to secure public confidence, even as the opposition WIN staged a dramatic walkout during his contribution to the 2026 budget debates.
As McCoy stood to address the National Assembly, all WIN parliamentarians exited the dome, a move he later referenced while criticizing the opposition for what he described as empty rhetoric and a failure to resonate with the border electorate. He contended that the governing PPPC's electoral success is rooted in tangible results rather than slogans.
A bunch of people who don't yet understand, after all these years, that the opportunity for progress, the opportunity to govern people could only come through trust. People got to trust you. They got to trust you. And therefore, my Guyanese brothers and sisters, wherever you are this evening, we want to sincerely thank you for your confidence, your continued faith and belief in us, and to assure you that this People's Progressive Party civic government, every single one of us, from our president to all of my colleagues, and by extension the other officials of government and our public servants, will work for you.
The minister rejected opposition's assertions that Afro-Guyanese are excluded from state benefits, saying he was quote-unquote fully offended by claims that government programs are designed to marginalize any group. In remarks directed at opposition member David Hines, McCoy argued that such allegations ignore the everyday impact of government services delivered through the Office of the Prime Minister and other ministries.
A lady, I didn't call her name, Mrs. Speaker. And she said to me it was only recently she was able to put everything together. Because she saw an occupant of that house, a little boy who remembers car numbers and so forth. He would look through the window and he could retain the car numbers and you know, that kind of thing. And she remembered seeing on the TV stand, you know, in those days you had DVDs and you had some of the most famous movies on that TV stand.
Addressing criticism over infrastructure spending, McCoy said roads, housing, and construction projects should not be viewed as abstract budget figures, but as economic engines that circulate income among contractors, small businesses, vendors, and workers. He contrasted the current administration's approach with that of the former APNUAFC government, which he labeled a failure experiment. Accusing the opposition of being improvisative ideas and focus on manufacturing soundbites for public consumption, Minister McCoy maintained that Budget 2026 is for all the people and is intended to support another phase of national development and economic progress. Adana Doric, Guyana TV9 News.
Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, Gil Teixeira, has moved to clarify that security arrangements, salary, and duty-free concessions attached to the office of the Leader of the Opposition following concerns raised by newly elected opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed. Here's more.
In a video posted to her Facebook page on Wednesday, Teixeira explained that the Leader of the Opposition is entitled to the same benefits as a government minister. This includes salary, allowances, and general benefits, but does not extend to personal security. Instead, security is provided at the office holder's residence and official office.
The act which covers leader opposition is the Leader of Opposition benefits, which includes the fact that he will receive the same as a minister. So Mr. Mohammed will receive and has received the salary, benefits, allowances, and entitlements of ministers. That includes security at his home. And so that is paid for by Parliament. He's not entitled to personal security. However, there is security at the office of the Leader of Opposition whenever he designates the office and based on the rental threshold that has been set by Parliament.
She noted that Mohammed may have been operating under a misunderstanding, having possibly confused the benefits of the office with those previously enjoyed by former President Dr. Barrow Jagdeo when he served as opposition leader.
This issue that he's entitled to these benefits that he sees former presidents being able to access do not apply to the Leader of Opposition and therefore do not apply to Mr. Mohammed.
Azruddin Mohammed, who leads the We Invest in Nationhood WIN party, after 1 week of assuming office, told media operatives on the sidelines of the budget debates at the National Assembly on Tuesday that he has not yet been provided with the official state security or government vehicle, benefits guaranteed under law, which he claims signals continued political discrimination against him. Adana Doric, Guyana TV9 News.
Minister of Labour and Manpower, Keoma Griffith, says youth unemployment in Guyana has fallen dramatically over the past 5 years, dropping from 30.2% to 12.1% as a result of targeted job creation, skills training, and manpower planning initiatives. Making his maiden address in the National Assembly during the 2026 budget debates, Griffith said the reduction in youth unemployment reflects the People's Progressive Party civic government's focus on putting people first by ensuring that economic growth translates into real opportunities for young Guyanese.
According to the Minister of Labour and Manpower Planning, Keoma Griffith, more than 104,000 sustainable jobs were created between 2020 and 2025, far surpassing the government's manifesto promise of 50,000 jobs. He noted that these jobs span key sectors including construction, mining, quarrying, agriculture, transportation, health, education, among other sectors, providing young people with access to both entry-level and skilled employment. Griffith highlighted the expanded role of the Board of Industrial Training, BIT, which trained more than 16,300 persons across all regions during the 5-year period at a cost of over $1.5 billion. Many of the beneficiaries, he said, were youth between the ages of 18 and 35, trained in technical and vocational areas such as heavy-duty equipment operation, welding, electrical installation, and commercial food preparation. Youth unemployment, the minister said, in Ghana has fallen dramatically over the past 5 years, dropping from 30.2% to 12.1% as a result of targeted job creation, skills training, and manpower planning initiatives.
It was the APNU while they were in government that put the Guyanese first when they fired over 2,000 hinterland support officers when they went into government. It was this government that restored that, Mr. Speaker, created 5,000 jobs for indigenous workers. I'm coming to win just now. Calm down. Mr. Speaker, it was the same APNU that put the Guyanese people first when they sent home 7,000 sugar workers. That is how they put the people of Guyana first. Mr. Speaker, it was the same APNU that put the Guyanese people first when they took away the children's cash grant. Took away the cash grant, but increased the allocation for food. They want lobster and shrimp.
In addition, Griffith said the National Job Bank, an online employment platform launched in 2022, has helped connect young job seekers with employers. By 2025, more than 11,000 job seekers were registered on the platform, resulting in hundreds of successful job placements, many of them youth. He said government's employment strategy has been strengthened by integrating manpower planning into major national projects, including the energy sector, where hundreds of Guyanese, many of them young people, have already secured employment.
Mr. Speaker, 647 persons were successfully employed through this platform, with a significant number being youth aged 18 to 35. Mr. Speaker, these efforts, Mr. Speaker, reflect a deliberate shift from passive labor administration to proactive labor market facilitation, consistent with the objective of our recently signed Decent Work Country program and this government's broader human capital development agenda.
Minister Griffith said Budget 2026 builds on these gains, with new initiatives aimed at further reducing youth unemployment, including expanded technical training programs, workforce planning reforms, and stronger partnerships with the private sector. He maintained that the sharp decline in youth unemployment is evidence that the government's labor policies are working and that continued investment in skills and decent work will remain central to Ghana's development agenda. Colwyn Abrams, Ghana TV9 News.
Regionally, in Jamaica, the gun court has accepted former Member of Parliament Joyan Silvera's guilty plea in connection with the death of his wife, Melissa Silvera, with sentencing set for March 6. Justice Brian Sykes handed down the decision on Thursday, confirming that Silvera, 52, pleaded guilty to manslaughter and using a firearm to commit an offense. He had originally been charged with murder but entered a guilty plea to the lesser offense at the start of his trial on Monday. Legal analysts note that while a murder conviction carries a mandatory life sentence, manslaughter carries no mandatory penalty, though judges rarely exceed 20 years. Melissa Silvera was found dead at the couple's Stony Hill St. Andrew home on November 10, 2023. While her death was initially believed to be from natural causes, an autopsy later revealed gunshot wounds with 3 bullet fragments recovered. Internationally, severe weather continues to batter the Iberian Peninsula, leaving death, destruction, and urgent searches in its wake. In Portugal, a 70-year-old man has died after floodwaters swept his car off a road near a dam in Altejo region. In southern Spain, a young girl remains missing after being dragged into a river in Malaga province while trying to save her dog, which survived. Storm Leonardo is the latest in a series of powerful systems to hit Portugal and Spain this year, causing fatalities, widespread flooding, power outages, and major infrastructure damage. More storms are expected this weekend. Those are major headlines for tonight's newscast. For more trending stories, follow us at our Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube platforms at GUI TV9 for more trending stories. I'm Colin Abrams.